sunshine. Welcome back to my channel, Alex in the Sunlight. I'm Alex and I'm so happy to see you. I know today's a little bit of a different setup. I'm just trying something new out. So let me know in the comments down below if you like this setup or if this works for you. The purpose of today's video is to channel in some messages from our shadow. If you support me on my Patreon page, you would know that I'm doing a 5-week kind of series where I'm writing about our shadow, how to bring it out into the light, how to befriend it, all sorts of different things. And so I was really inspired to kind of do this reading so that we can tap into the individual messages that we could be receiving from our shadow. So we've got 4 piles here today. Group 1 is lapis lazuli, 2 is calcite, 3 is labradorite, and 4 is malachite. Take a moment before you just head on into the pile of your choosing to really get grounded and choose the correct pile for you, taking in a deep breath, asking your higher self or your angels to aid you in choosing the correct pile. And then once you feel ready, you can go ahead and we'll get started. Okay? Hi, group number 1, those of you who chose lapis lazuli. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot going on already. I feel like this is a very dynamic energy, and the 2 main things that I'm feeling from you guys and your shadow and what's going on there is like power dynamics and being at war with yourself. So you tend to find yourself in conflict with others. And I feel like a lot of you were raised in a certain way. Like maybe some of you were raised to, maybe your guardians told you that you needed to respect them just cause, or maybe you were taught that you needed to kind of obey authority, and that just doesn't really go with your personality. But somewhere along the way, you started to kind of adopt that kind of way of being. And so there are these aspects of you. There's this one aspect of you that kind of almost agrees with it. Like, I should do what other people say, or I should just fall in line, or I should just let someone else take the lead. And then there's this other part of you that's like, but no, I am the star. I am the leader. I am my own authoritative figure. And if that doesn't sound like you, that's what your shadow is trying to tell you that it wants. It wants you to take the lead. It wants you to kind of step up in your own life and stop allowing self-doubt and other people's opinions of you get in the way of what it is that you are really here to do. I feel like a lot of your fear of judgment and what other people have to say kind of clouds your vision on what it is that you actually want to do, or what you that feel like you should be doing, because there's like a lack of direction, there's a lack of focus. And it's not because you're incapable, because you're actually really talented. And like I said, you're a very dynamic person. So you probably have many interests. In fact, I'd bet on it that you have many different interests and passions in life, which is that's totally fine. That's really beautiful. But you're finding it hard to focus your direction and really put your all into something, because there are these deep-rooted insecurities kind of eating away at you. You've got the 5 of Wands upright, the King of Swords reversed, the Star upright, 7 of Cups upright, 3 of Swords reversed, and the Emperor reversed. So with the 5 of Wands, I'm seeing maybe you grew up in an environment that was a bit competitive, or you had to fight to be heard, or you had to fight to be seen. Or maybe you noticed that that's what other people did, and so you thought that's kind of how that's the way the world works, even though that doesn't really align with your personality. Because I'm getting that a lot of you grew up in a way that didn't really mesh well with, how you actually are personally, but then you kind of just adapted to your environment and kind of molded your personality to just survive it, or fit in, or get with it. I feel like for some of you, you weren't really raised in a way that was like open to many different ideas. And anytime people tried to like push the boundaries a little bit, there was lots of conflict, possibly. Like you were used to hearing um, judgments or arguments. I feel like there, whatever it was, this Five of Wands is kind of like, to me, the root of where this insecurity came from, is like this fear of criticism, or a fear of, well, if I do my own thing, or if I try to go my own way, it's going to end up to where um, I'm in a fight, or I'm in a conflict. I don't want to have to argue about this. And that's understandable. But then it's like, with this King of Swords in reverse, it's almost like you've kind of, like I was saying before, like given your a bit of your power away. Or maybe I didn't say it, but I was thinking it, like your shadow like wants you to take your power back. It's like it's aware of, you know, these feelings of insecurity that you have, where you feel like you shouldn't be in the spotlight mentally, but emotionally there's like a deep part of you that knows that you are meant for the spotlight, that you are meant to be seen, and you're meant to be heard. You're meant to take the lead with this Star card, and you have a big dream that you really should be attending to, and that you really should be going for. But it's like these things over here, this insecurity, or this feeling like you don't really have the ability, or maybe you feel like you don't have the know-how. That's not true. It's just, you know, you holding yourself back. But it's kind of like this is weighing down this right here, which is, you have this dream, and you're also a very creative person, and it's almost causing this illusion, like you want things to just happen fast. And I feel like it's like you want things to happen fast because you want to be able to prove to these people over here that you're afraid of their criticism, that like you got it done, you did it, like it happened. So, you know, in your face, which is totally fine. But like, at the same time, it can be a little bit of a hindrance. If you see this card, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. There's beautiful flowers, lots of like nice colors. But at the same time, you can tell that it's an illusion, that plants and flowers don't really grow this way. They don't really look this way out in nature. And so that's kind of like how I feel like you guys have fallen prey to a little bit. You see something, you think it might be either a quick fix, or just like you know, like the golden brick road to get you to where you need to go. And like you may think that path is linear, but even if it is, like if you are in kind of like if you do feel like you're Dorothy, right? Think about the obstacles that she came across. A lot of it, you know, was relatively benign, and then some of it was pretty scary. But either way, what made it mostly tumultuous was she didn't know what was going on. She didn't know where she was. She wasn't sure what was happening. She just knew she was trying to get home. So I feel like that's kind of the situation you guys find yourself in, and your shadow's like aware of it. Like, we're trying to get home, we're trying to get to our dream, but we keep coming across, you know, these kind of like illusionary forks in the road, where we're not really sure where to go, and we're not sure what the easy way out is, but we are seeking the easy way out. And that could be, in and out of itself, the problem, that you don't feel confident enough to take a risk, or to take the seemingly more difficult road. But the only thing that makes it difficult is that it's probably going to be completely individual, and you're probably going to have to carve out your own path. There's most likely not a blueprint for what it is that you are really trying to do, because I also feel like you guys are very unique. Your interests are unique, so your life path is unique. You've got the Three of Swords in reverse over here, so I know that you've been heartbroken, and I feel like it's just been, you know, not random, multiple different kinds of relationships in your life have probably left you a little bit disappointed. You could have been, you know, betrayed in some kind of way. Maybe you were cheated on, or maybe, you know, you had a guardian who you trusted and respected, kind of like turn out to be nothing like what you thought they were. This energy is just kind of telling me that it's like, it's a wound that definitely needs to be healed, because at this point it's holding you back. At this point, it's almost like you use it as a way to deny this star right here, to deny that you have this guiding light within you, trying to take you somewhere that you were afraid to go right now, but that you actually know really deep down that you need to go to. And the Emperor in reverse, like I said, I think at the beginning, I feel like some of you guys were raised in a certain way, and you have these authority figures that could have possibly abused their power, and you could have picked up some bad habits in that way as well, where you yourself have had moments and times where you've abused power or were a little bit manipulative. Your shadow wants you to know that, like, you work with what you're given. You work with the tools that you're given, and none of us are exempt from the influence of the people that raised us, right? We're sponges when we're babies, and we basically learn how to be a person through the people around us. So and nobody is one-dimensional. We're all multifaceted beings. We all have light and dark within us. So, you know, even though a lot of our guardians have really good aspects, they also can have some bad habits that we pick up along the way. So I think the overall message and what your shadow wants you to be made aware of is that you've got to find some way to take your power back and to gain your confidence, because that is how you will gain your clarity. That is how you will get rid of the illusions and really start seeing things for what they are and actually see the way forward. Because you've got a lot of, you know, I think that you guys are overall very influenced by relationships, you know, how you interact with people. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're social butterflies. I just mean that, like, whether you like it or not, people, their opinions and all of that kind of thing, it really affects you, and you really care. So I feel like in the middle here, it's every time I look at it, I just think of like how creative you are, how you should really be stepping out into the spotlight. But on flanking it on either side is like insecurity, possibly jealousy, competition, conflict, you know, scared of what people will say or what people will think. You could have people around you that just aren't really supportive, and you don't really feel comfortable trying to put yourself out there. All of that is understandable, but it's something that you need to take this time to really heal so that you can overcome, because you have a very significant purpose, and your dream, this dream that you have and all of this creativity that you have is meant to be channeled into something for the greater good of everybody. Your advice cards are clarity and work. And clarity says, let me trust my deepest instincts in all ways, especially when matters are unclear. May my own holy intuition always guide the way. Exactly. Instead of thinking about what other people are going to say or what they would do or what methods they used or worked for somebody else that's not you, focus on what your instincts are saying, what your intuition is saying, how you know you can get through this, and how you know that you can make things happen for yourself. Like I said, it may not be a blueprint out there for what you're trying to do, because what you're trying to do is very unique. And that's beautiful. That's okay. And then the work card says, I'm now available to receive all who can benefit from my work. Use me to relieve suffering on the planet. May all who need me find me. The divine is my complete source for all prosperity and will provide. So whatever it is, start healing this stuff so that you can really go for it. Because like I said, it's for the good of everybody. This dream, your work, your passion, whatever it is, it's beneficial for everybody for you to pursue it. So don't worry about all of this other stuff, and don't doubt yourself. If you feel like, you know, you're incapable, you're not. But what can kind of help with that confidence is if you just keep, you know, working at it, keep learning, and practice. Whatever it is that you want to do, just keep practicing so that you can turn this King of Swords upright, because you know, like I said, you have the capacity, and you're really meant to be out in front leading other people. So that's all I've got for you guys, group number 1. I really hope the reading resonated with you. Let me know in the comments if it did. Like and subscribe and comment down below any requests for future videos or anything like that. Follow me on Instagram at Alex in the Sunlight. Become a patron over on my Patreon page. And thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. I truly appreciate it. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well. Bye. Hi, group number 2, those of you who chose calcite. Okay, so you guys, stop being so stubborn. That's like the overall feeling I'm getting, is that you guys are you're very driven, you're very goal oriented. You're very strong-willed. You know, when you really want something, you have the ability to make it happen. I sense that you guys are really innovative, but your shadow is letting you know, like, hey, we have this issue where if things don't exactly go how we thought they would, or if things change too much, or, you know, if there's too many obstacles, at some point it's almost like you just throw in the towel and you're just like, you know, I'm sick of this, which is totally understandable, but you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because all you have to do is like take some time out. Like, you know, I'm seeing here that you guys might be prone to kind of dwelling on things, or maybe being a little bit bitter or resentful. I feel like some of you guys kind of have coping mechanisms that at first glance aren't so bad, but taken to certain lengths can turn into unhealthy habits. And, you know, I just feel like sometimes you guys aren't the best at dealing with like the ups and downs. You may be saying, because there's just nothing but downs. And I think that's another thing too, is your shadow's trying to say, like, you know, sometimes we have this really pessimistic perspective, and we gotta turn that around, because you have so much potential. Like, there's so much energy, there's so much life. You guys are really smart, and you have a lot of energy, but it's almost like you'll get to a certain point and then that energy just turns off and you're just like done with it. And you just want to, like, you know, go hang out on the couch or whatever in your bed and like shut the world out or something. And it's really not necessary. All you have to do when you get too overwhelmed, or you feel like the universe has just kept throwing you obstacle after obstacle and you're trying to get this stuff done, is you just need to realize that, like, you don't know what you're being protected from. You don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes, spiritually, energetically. So just kind of take detours as signs that it's like you need to rest and reflect, regroup, and come back to it, instead of just saying, like, I'm just going to throw in the towel altogether, like I feel like some of you guys tend to do. Because there's like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of you guys have started a business or want to start a business, and you have a really good idea. You should really go for it. But like with all ventures, you've hit some rough patches, and I feel like you've let it discourage you too much. And it could be because in the past, like if you grew up in, you know, like really difficult situations, and maybe you grew up in a situation where you were the most motivated person around, or you were the most innovative, or you were the one who had all the new ideas or the drive. I feel like a lot of you guys were very like high energy growing up, and just life and certain situations, possibly even people that raised you, have kind of like toned you down or turned that volume kind of down when you really want to be turned up. And I feel like there's a lot of like coping mechanisms that also have to do with like holding yourself back as well. And I feel like some of you guys are you will only take a risk so far, and that's understandable too. But it's just like, you have to know that you're safe, and that it isn't always, you know, like, because I feel like some of you are paranoid. Like, some of you are unnecessarily paranoid. This 9 of Wands in reverse is like, you think people are out to get you maybe, or you feel like, well, it's just not going to work out anyways. And I'm not saying that this is how you are every day, all day. This is messages from your shadow. So this just could be stuff that you were dealing with subconsciously that is holding you back. but it's not going to keep holding you back. I also feel like, you guys have some stubbornness, you have a little bit of bitterness, but at the same time, there is a goal and you're going to meet it. I think a lot of you have very strong Taurus energy. I'm feeling like, you have your sights set on something and you are steadfast to achieve, which is totally good. Even Capricorns, like I feel like a lot of like either fire or earth energy here. But the first card you have, like I said, is Nine of Wands in reverse. That kind of like paranoid feeling like you have to watch your back. And then with the Devil, this is that kind of like unhealthy coping mechanisms, even defense mechanisms, because I feel like at the core of who you are is like a very youthful and vibrant and energetic being that is just like full of life, full of new ideas, full of the drive to bring them to fruition. And then the shadow of it is like letting the world get to you and having kind of like a hard exterior, or engaging in activities that wouldn't actually benefit you or get you to where you want to go, but it's like, screw it, right? Why not? Because whatever, like I can feel like you guys can get into like a little bit of a pessimistic mindset where you're just like, what is even the point? And you can kind of, it's like I've said before, I don't know if I've said it on the channel, but I've definitely said it in my personal life, where it's like, I feel like the devil plays an important role energy wise in our lives. And it's like, when he comes knocking, it's like you invite him in for tea and then you send him on his way. Because if you let him, he will overstay his welcome. And I feel like that's kind of what you guys almost fall into sometimes, is you like, you feel this Knight of Wands energy and then you let him in, and then you're just like, now, okay, it's turned into a sleepover. Now it's turned into a week. And like, you are really engaging with this energy that doesn't actually, feed your dreams like you want to. When in actuality, all you really need to do when you start feeling this way and overwhelmed, when you feel overwhelmed and anxious and all of that stuff, you just need to take a break. You don't need to engage in this kind of energy for too long. You just need to take a nice break and really take a break. That doesn't mean like you're sitting down or you're lying down, sure, but you're overwhelming your mental system by watching a bunch of stuff, or listening to things, or trying to figure out how to be more productive. Like that in itself isn't really taking a break. You're overloading your mind at that point. Just actually taking a break, right? Just listening to calm music or reading your favorite books or things like that, and taking a nap during the day, making sure that you're well fed and you've drinking lots of water, like just really taking care of yourself. Because when you're working so hard towards something, you can kind of let those things fall by the wayside, and then you don't even realize how they're actually affecting your mood, and you could be exasperating your anxiety with these unhealthy coping mechanisms. You've got the Eight of Pentacles here, so I feel like your shadow just wants to let you know, like, just when you feel that anxiety, or if you feel like things aren't going to go your way, you can gain some kind of confidence back by just working on your skills, by investing your time and your energy into the thing that it is that you really love to do, or even just your hobbies. But I think that whatever it is, like I said, I feel like a lot of you are starting a business or have started a business. Just, you can make yourself feel much more confident and at ease if you just learn everything that you can in a slow paced and steady way, right? Like, gradual progress is going to last, and you guys really care about making things last. So work on your skills, educate yourself. It'll make you feel better, I promise. You've got the Wheel of Fortune in reverse here, and I feel like this is that stubbornness, not wanting things to change, or perceiving all changes as negative change. If you're in a situation right now where you don't like it or you're unhappy, ask yourself every day, what can I do to improve my situation right now in this moment? Could I shift my weight? Am I uncomfortable? Am I tensing in my shoulders? Could I call up a mentor and get some advice? Could I unplug and stop, inundating my system with all of this stimuli? Could I try something different? Could I accept things as they are so that I can finally find a solution to make them better? Like, there are many different ways that you can take charge, even if you can't do anything physically to take charge. Sometimes we find ourselves in these situations where we're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and that's understandable. But it's kind of like, if you're worrying, what are you really worrying about, right? And it's so much easier said than done. But honestly, we all need to ask ourselves more often, if I'm worrying, what am I worrying about? Am I worrying about things that have happened in the past that I can't change? Then I don't need to be worrying. Am I worrying about things in the future that I'm hoping don't happen? Then I don't need to be worrying, because I don't need to focus on something that hasn't happened yet. I don't want to focus on what I don't want. I need to focus on what I do want, right? So I would say definitely heal the issues that you have with change, because every change can be an opportunity. You've got the Six of Wands. So like I said, I know you guys are either really successful right now or are going to be. And success is definitely relative, but I feel like it's going to be like your perfect version of success. Like, you guys are destined to succeed at this, whatever it is. And people really look up to you and probably admire you, even if they don't tell you that they do. And I feel like there's people who are really rooting for you that you may not know about yet. Because when you get into this kind of mood, you can maybe block out some of the positive comments that you could receive. But really, you guys, you're good. You just need to take care of yourself and keep going. You've got the Two of Pentacles last, so I feel like you definitely need balance. I think these two being at first and last is not a coincidence. This anxiety or this paranoia that you feel, I feel like gets exasperated or starts coming to a head when you get out of balance, when you stop taking care of yourself, when you don't focus enough on maintenance, right? Because quick and fast and all of that stuff, rapid progress feels really good to a point. And then it's like, okay, actually, let me slow down. Let me pick one or two things to focus on today, and then I can do something else tomorrow. But I have to have my health the priority, right? Because health is wealth. So I know you guys got this money card here, so I know you're money oriented. That's totally fine. But you've got to be balanced. You have to prioritize balance. It's going to help you with your business. Okay. The advice cards that you have are empowerment and money. And with the empowerment card, it has its own meaning. I'm going to read that in a second, but I really feel like it's right underneath this Eight of Pentacles. And like I said, I think that you will feel much better and more confident if you can actually hone in on your skills, work at your skills, learn about whatever it is that you're into, so that you can really feel like an expert in it. And that in itself is a kind of empowerment. Knowledge is power, right? But the card says, when you ask the divine to take over, you get pulled into your own authentic power. It's a force of inner love that wants your wholeness and magnificence. Unfold my true and radiant self, dear Lord. So really be yourself. You don't need to deal with these defense mechanisms. You don't need to pretend to be hardcore. You don't need to pretend that you've got it together when you really don't. Just be you. From that space, you are empowered to actually make good decisions and improve your situation overall. Even though that sounds like, you probably have some resistance to it, that's the key to this, okay? And then the last card is money. All my finances are now in divine order. Love itself knows my needs and is the source for all. I needn't cling to gain or fear loss. Every need will be met through offering all to the divine. Whatever it is, whatever business you're working on, whatever project it is, offer it to the divine. Make it about purpose and positive intention for the good of everybody, and everything else will fall into place, okay? But you're good. All right, that's all I've got for you guys, group number 2. I really hope the reading resonated with you. Let me know in the comments if it did. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Alex in the Sunlight. Go ahead and become a patron over on my Patreon page so you can have access to Patreon only content and other good things. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. I truly appreciate it. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well. Bye. Hi, group number 3, those of you who chose labradorite. Okay, so I really sympathize with you guys because I feel like a lot of you don't feel so good about yourselves right now. There's a lot. Like, the first thing that I was feeling was like, okay, you guys have to forgive and let go and understand that whatever is happening right now, eventually you will understand why. And as for the forgiveness, I feel like it's very largely, I feel like it's forgiveness of the self. For some of you, the things that I'm seeing could be like somebody else did this or that to you, and you're holding on to it. But large part, what I'm feeling is this is about the self. Some of you may have been deceitful, either towards others or towards yourself. And most likely, if you were being deceitful towards yourself, that trickles down into how you communicate and act with others. So probably both. You probably weren't completely honest about, maybe who you were or what your intentions were, or maybe you didn't even really know. I think like the energy I'm feeling is some of you guys were making decisions based on like you thought it was the right thing to do at the time, even if it didn't really align with who you are. I think a lot of you, your shadows, like, we haven't been living as who we actually are. We've kind of been living like a lie. And that could be on like a huge scale, like you guys have literally had double lives, or it could be like on a deeper and smaller scale where it's just like you haven't been acting or speaking or moving in a way that was authentic to who you are. You've got the Seven of Swords in reverse, the Hermit in reverse, the Page of Swords upright, Three of Pentacles in reverse, Strength upright, and the Tower upright. And I feel like the Seven of Swords is like that deceit, like I was talking about. I just get this, like I see this person who's just kind of like saying the opposite of what they feel or doing the opposite of what they want to do. And at the time, it seems relatively benign, but then those kind of little white lies can snowball and really start to affect our sense of self and affect how other people see us. And we were doing it in the first place to get those people to see us in a certain way. So then you end up having to keep up the charade, and it started off small. Like I said, it snowballs, and then you're just kind of like, I don't even know how I got here. I think some of you could have been dealing with a situation like where you were in some kind of relationship, could be romantic, could be friendship, and it wasn't based on truth, it wasn't based on honesty. And so I think that no matter what kind of relationship or relationships that was, like, I feel like you guys let yourselves down, or you feel let down by somebody else, and it's really taken a hit on you mentally and emotionally, and you've got to forgive. Like, there's so much in here that just feels like you've got to find some kind of way to make peace with it and let it go, and not kind of look at your whole life through the lens of like this one situation. And especially because I feel so strongly that this is you guys, do not beat yourself up forever about this. Like, if you were lying, if you were pretending, you weren't doing it for no reason, right? Maybe you were raised in a way that made you afraid to be who you were for a multitude of reasons. It could have literally been for your own safety, right? You could have been raised by people who had like very deep emotional childhood wounds, and they projected that onto you and forced you to be however they wanted you to be. And then you just took that on out into the rest of your life. I feel like a lot of you probably relate to characters on TV or in movies that, kind of lead double lives in some kind of a way, where they present in a certain way. Maybe they present to be very confident, or they present to be very social, or they present to be very, you know, smooth or suave in some kind of way. And then on the inside, they're actually deeply insecure, or they're skittish, or they're anxious, and they keep people at an arm's length because they don't want anyone to see the veneer. And um and like I said, that could be on so many, it's a spectrum. It's not like all of you are the same way in this one way. It's just more so however that manifests in your life is going to affect you either way, because it's not who you actually are. So even if you didn't cheat on somebody, or even if you weren't like telling huge lies, some kind of way that you've been living was like built on shaky ground and like on a false foundation, and that's really really hurt you and really bothering you. You've got the hermit in reverse, so I feel like you feel isolated in this way, and that would make sense if you've been lying about who you really are, or if you've been acting in a way that makes you feel bad about yourself because it's not who you are. You can feel alone, right? Nobody else is in on the secret, so you just kind of have to carry this burden by yourself. Or maybe for some of you, you let somebody close to you into your little world, and like you let them know how you actually are, what you actually think, and then they isolated themselves from you. And then, you feel kind of abandoned. But I feel like for most of you, it's feeling alone because nobody actually knows you. And if they don't know you, they can't really, be with you and make you feel, you know, um, connected and like you belong, because it's not real. I'm going to jump over here for a second because you've got the strength in the tower. And I feel like this is letting you know that whatever recently just happened, I feel like it just happened or it's about to happen. But I feel like for most of you, it just happened, where it was like everything kind of like fell out from under you. Everything kind of like crumbled, like the veneer cracked, and it was all kind of like let out in the open, something like that. And there's been like a major change. Maybe you just went through a huge breakup because of this, or things at your job or with your friends have become disparate or something. But you need to know two things: that you have the strength to get through this. You absolutely do, and you need to draw on your inner strength to get through this. And also with this Page of Swords, it's going to free you. Like, I think right now you're feeling isolated, and right now you feel alone and ashamed. But after those kind of feelings settle, and you come to accept what has happened, you're going to feel freed, because there's no more lies and there's no more act to keep up, right? Like, it's up, the jig is up. So there's no more tension. It's released the tension. So while it feels really uncomfortable and crappy right now, you're going to come to a place of feeling really freed by it. That's why you just need to persevere. You need to draw on your inner strength and persevere through this time, because it had to, the tower had to come down. It had to crumble. Whatever it was that you built on falsehood had to change. All of this needed to change. Your life needed to change. And you're going to come out on the other side so much better for it. Even though it doesn't feel like that right now, you'll actually be free. You'll get to be who you are. So I've seen the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So I know that, like, I feel like for some of you, whatever happened caused some rifts within your interpersonal relationships. I feel like they were platonic, like maybe coworkers or friends or something like that. All you can do from here on out is better than you did. All you can do from here on out is actually be honest. Be who you are, say what you have to say and really mean it. Lead with your best intentions. You can't change anything that has already happened. So you're going to need to just forgive yourself. And anybody who can't forgive you, if there's like tension or anything like that, if it's awkward, I mean, you're just going to have to let them go and understand that that is their choice. And like I said, you can't do anything about that. And it's not really your responsibility to, as long as you move different from here on out, that's all you can do. The advice cards you have are really perfect, to be honest. You've got divine timing and mistakes. So you have to understand that this tower moment, this big change, like this upheaval, was necessary. You couldn't go on the way that you were going. Like, you couldn't keep that up. It just wasn't going to work. Or if it was somebody else and you found out and you feel betrayed or whatever, like, understand that, like, the illusion had to be shed. It wasn't going to work. And even if you felt like, oh, this is working, I can keep this up, I can keep juggling this, I can keep, it was always bound to fall. So understand that all of this is happening in divine timing. And I think some of you guys are trying to like manifest something different, like, okay, I'm done with that part of my life and I want to move on and everything. And you could have possibly been trying to manifest before this tower moment was happening. But understand that divine timing is at play right now. So your best bet is to let the timing play out how it's meant to. But the card says, the divine brings things in the timing that we need. Nothing comes before we're prepared, nor leaves too early. May I always trust your perfect and holy timing, dear Lord. Yeah, so whoever left you or whatever has left you in your life just now, it left right on time. So understand that. I know it's difficult, but when you feel a little bit better and you feel, like you're getting your strength back over here, just remember that, okay, this had to happen. Everything is in divine timing. I'm being divinely guided right now. And the last card is mistakes. You've got to forgive yourself. Whatever it was that transpired with all of this, whether it was you or somebody else or multiple people involved, forgive yourself and then forgive them. And send them love and light and move on with your life, because you're a human being. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up. It's really nice if people can stick around through that, but if they can't, that's on them and you guys have to move on. But there will always be people around who understand you and accept you, and you won't be so alone, because those people understand. And they probably have compassion because they make mistakes too. Nobody is perfect. But the card says, allow me to know it's okay to make mistakes. Let me always take care of the inner child so he or she feels loved no matter what. Yeah, I think the biggest message from your shadow too is like, you need to love yourself. You need to love every aspect of yourself, including your shadow, including the things that you tried to hide, including the things that you feel ashamed of, because they're not shameful. They're a part of you, so they deserve love and reverence and respect. Okay? So you can move on and make better choices and really live the life that you actually came here to live. All right, but that's all I've got for you guys. Group number 3, I really hope the reading resonated with you. Let me know in the comments down below if it did. Like this video, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at alexinthesunlight. Consider becoming a patron over on my Patreon page. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. I truly appreciate it. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well. Bye. Hi, group number 4, those of you who chose Malachite. All right, so a couple things, but the biggest thing is that when I saw these 10s and this sun, and like, if you look at this imagery with the trees, I was like, okay, this is you guys. You have grown so much. Definitely over the past year, but over the past few years, probably the last decade was very significant for you. And now we're in 2020, and I feel like there's so many messages coming out from your shadow. First thing is, yes, you just went through like all of this transformation. You went through like a huge cycle in your life. So honor that, celebrate that, and release what you don't need anymore. I think some of you guys aren't really seeing how blessed you are and aren't really seeing how strong you are or how talented or how amazing, like you've achieved something really great. So really start celebrating that. This Ten of Swords in the beginning is like letting you know whatever obstacles you went through, the rough time, the hard time, that is over. The cycle has ended. So release it. Really let it go. Don't carry it with you. Don't, stack these swords and like just drag them along with you into this new beginning. Actually like let it go. Don't hold on to any victim mentality or feeling like, life is out to get you, or just remember that life is happening for you, not at you. So anything that happened was for your highest benefit. And I feel like you really came out on top, or you're about to. You've got the Ten of Pentacles right next to that. This is success. This is long lasting abundance and stability, financial stability, harmony. So it might have been hard won. You might have really had to fight to get there, but you did it, or you're about to. So celebrate that instead of harping on whatever happened that was undesirable or that hurt you. It's you can get it out. I'm not telling you to bottle up your emotions, but like don't ignore this for this over here. You know what I mean? Like, you've got the sun right next to it. So I feel like these two cards are letting you know that it wasn't without difficulty, this abundance or the security or this joy that you found. It wasn't without difficulty, but that's what you need to focus on to manifest more of it. But you're not going to manifest more of it by just kind of like digging in your heels and burning yourself out, because that's another message here too. Like I said, there's multiple things going on, but you've got the Ten of Wands here. And so I feel like, to me, this kind of looks like a journey. Like you came out of this like tumultuous time and you've been through a lot, and you feel like, kind of like you've had to be tough, and you worked really hard to succeed at something or to manifest something. And it's like the light at the end of the tunnel with this sun card here, letting you know you kind of like did it. And then I feel like with this Ten of Wands, it's almost like you're trying to put on more responsibility, or you feel like you're responsible for a lot of things. And you could have like a big family. You could be like the helpful one in the family, or you could be kind of like the shoulder to cry on for people in your life. You're going to have to take time off from that. I feel like unless it's something absolutely necessary that actually is your responsibility, do not take on any more burdens than you already have, just for the sake of doing it. It's counterproductive. Don't you've got this Two of Swords and this Knight of Swords at the end here. I feel like you're burning yourself out mentally. You're trying to be everything to everybody, or maybe you are trying to like I said, manifest even more success, or trying to succeed even more, and trying to like push and like, move past any kind of barrier or any kind of obstacle. And you're just like, go, go, go. But like, you're kind of blindfolded, like with the Two of Swords in reverse, you're not really knowing which way to go. You're not really knowing which way to choose, or, what decision to make, because you're not thinking clearly. You've zapped your mental, energy by shouldering too many responsibilities and too many burdens that really aren't yours. And if you're the type of people that try to take burdens off of other people, understand that, like, even though I know your heart is probably in the right place, like, you never know what you could be standing in the way of for somebody else. Like, don't block other people's lessons. I know we say don't block people's blessings, but also don't block their lessons. Don't do everything for everybody just because you think that you can, because there's other stuff, namely rest, that you should be focusing on. Because with this Knight of Swords, it's like lack of focus and lack of direction, and almost like I feel like a dizziness. Like you, it's almost like you came out of this like trying time and felt really strong and really capable and was like, yeah, like I can do anything, which is amazing. But then it's almost like you didn't stop to take a rest and allow the transition to take place, allow the feelings to seep in and settle in so that you could, really adjust to the difference in your life, because your life is completely different. So like that takes adjustment. Even if you manifested everything that you ever wanted, you would still need to take time to have an adjustment period, because things are different now and you're not used to it. And you deserve to take the time to, really get used to it and feel it out, see what this is like, because you haven't experienced it before. You don't just jump into the next thing, trying to do all of this other stuff and then lose your way for the sake of really nothing. I mean, the only thing that you should be focusing on right now, I feel like, is why you do it in the first place, why you wanted to manifest whatever it is in the first place. Where are your passions? Like, what is it that really makes you happy in life? Who were you as a child? What dreams did you have as a child? Like, that's what you really should just be focused on. Almost like you know take time to daydream, take time to just like have fun and do your hobbies for the sake of it, not for the sake of making money or not for the sake of productivity, but because like it's inspirational when you just take the time to have some fun. It's right in the middle here and is right next to the 10 of Wands. And I feel like this like fight between them, like the fight between your inner child just wanting to enjoy your time for once, and then this 10 of Wands that's like, no, we have to do things, we have to work, we have to stay driven, we have to stay productive. I really feel like your shadow wants you to have more balance in that, because otherwise, if you look at these cards, they don't get you what you want either. Even though you think, well, if I rest, I'm not going to get what I want. If you don't rest, you're not going to get what you want. You've got the advice cards you have are intention and striving, and they're right underneath the sun and the 10 of Wands. Intention, like I was saying with the sun, you need to remember what your passions are. Focus on that. What is it that makes you happy? Why do you want this business or this project or whatever it is that you're trying to manifest? Why is it that you want it in the first place? What makes you feel wealthy? Not just because you have money, but what, aspect of life really makes you feel like you want to live life? What gets you excited to wake up in the morning? What is your intention behind the things that you do? And then the 10 of Wands, like I said, you're in danger of like taking on too many responsibilities that really aren't yours. And that's right on top of striving. Why are you striving so hard? Why do you feel like, every waking moment has to be productive? And why do you discount rest when rest is a part of productivity, right? As far as intention goes, the card says intention is simply allowing the will and the mind to align and move in harmony. May I always focus on the highest. My intention is that all God's wishes for me come true. Right. So, like that drive that you have, that work ethic that you have, is bolstered and is supported by returning to source energy and returning to that inner child and that inner motivation and inspiration that you have. They have to work together. It can't just be drive and manifestation for no purpose, right? You have to remember the purpose behind it. And then last card is striving, and it says, eventually the individual ego's drive to make things happen falls away, replaced with a relaxed, trusting openness to answers as they arise. Thank you, Divine, for letting me move with the flow. Right, go with the flow. Do not just go seeking out, new things to get into or new things to take up your time, space, and energy just for the sake of doing it, just for the sake of striving. Release that need, because there will always be something that you can work on, but you won't have the energy to work on it if you don't take some time out, and if you don't just like kind of let that let those things come to you. Don't go out looking for more unnecessary burdens on yourself, right? If you're having trouble resting right now, really do your best to accept that you're a human being and that you're going to have to rest sometime. Celebrate your successes, celebrate how far you've come, let go of any, victim mentality that you have, and really appreciate where you are, because like you did it, like, or you're about to do it, whatever it is, you've accomplished something. So spend more time appreciating that instead of worrying about your next move, okay? The inspiration will come when you're actually ready. All right? But that's all I've got for you guys, group number 4. I really hope the reading resonated with you. Let me know in the comments down below if it did. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram at alexandrite. Consider becoming a patron over on my Patreon page. And thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. I truly appreciate it. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well.